Christina. It's good to see you again. How you doing?
I'm feeling a little nervous, a little anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little nervous, a little anxiety. That's the same as last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what we're here to work on, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to just give a brief overview of what this session is going to look like, and then we'll dive in, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
So first we're going to start with, I'm just going to get an update from what's been going on with you for this past week to see if anything new happened or anything impactful or important since our session last week and the evaluation.
Mhm.
Then we'll start to dig into the actual therapeutic technique that we're going to use to start moving you towards your goal of being more comfortable in social situations. Um, then I'm gonna assign an action step for you to perform over this next week, and then we'll pick it up next week. And then finally, I'll get some feedback from you and ask any questions that you may have, and then summarize the entire session. And that'll be it. Okay.
Okay. Sounds like a lot.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is a lot, but I think we'll be able to get through it. So tell me about this past week. What's been going on with you? What's important?
Um. Well, I guess like I said, I've been having a lot of anxiety. And so this past week, all I kept thinking about was this event, this like family friend gathering thing. And so I spent all that week just thinking about this social event and like just agonizing over what I was gonna wear and just who I was gonna see, and it was just, I don't know, it just felt so much anxiety to the point where like at the very end, I just didn't go. I decided not to go. And so yeah, I just spent this week just thinking about this event and then like not even going because I was just so nervous of all these situations and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of stupid how I didn't go.
Yeah, this is something that happens to you a lot.
Yeah, recently, yeah. Yep. I don't know, I'd rather be home, like, I guess doing boring shit, but like, yeah, I'd rather be home and by myself, than just like with a group of people. Yeah.
Okay. And you'd rather be doing that because of how much anxiety you have when you're with people?
Yeah, it's like just like I want to be able to perform well in each situation, and so
Okay.
it's just there's so much information or like I don't know expectations for me, and I just like what should I wear, what should I talk about, like who am I gonna talk to? It's just a lot, and I decided to like I don't know just not even partake, not even go to the event. But yeah, just like a lot of nerves and anxiety, and I don't know, like, is that normal?
If you struggle with social anxiety, that's textbook.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So I guess yeah.
Okay. So good. So this last week has been a really good example of what brought you here and what we're going to work on.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, good. So what I want to talk about and kind of explain is what this course of treatment is going to look like for the duration. So what we're going to be doing is a form of CBT that's focused on exposure to these social situations.
Okay.
But the first step in being able to do that is to first identify a bunch of different social situations and then rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of how much anxiety you're getting from those situations. And then we'll talk about that in a minute. Once you have like a big list of things from 1 to 10, preferably at least a few things at each level, then we'll be able to start at the bottom of that list, things that are 1 or 2 or 3, and then together we're going to work through some techniques that are going to help you to manage your anxiety at that low level and get you to do those things and to sustain presence in those activities, lower your anxiety level, and then when you do that enough times, you're going to start to become more comfortable with it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I guess we're just gonna go like a scale of all these anxiety inducing situations.
Yeah, so let me give you this worksheet to help explain that a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. So if you see that sheet, there's a list of 40 things on there.
Mhm.
Some of them as seemingly simple as even thinking about talking to somebody. There's a lot of people that even thinking about certain things can be anxiety inducing. And then if you look at the bottom of the list, you'll see things like going to a party, things that tend to be really anxiety inducing for people that struggle with social anxiety.
Mhm.
So why don't we go through a couple of those and see maybe if you could identify maybe one thing on that list that would be like maybe a 1 for you and something that might be a 10.
Yeah. Okay. Let me look at this. So, I guess for me, a 10, and that like most anxiety inducing, would be just going on a date with a stranger. Yeah, that's a big 10. And then I guess like going to a party, again, well, if with strangers, and even if there are a few friends, yeah, just going to a party in general, I would probably put that as like up close to 10, like 9.5 or something like that. So I would say those two are probably the most on like the higher part of my scale. And then and so I have to do one for 0, or do I have to do one for 1?
Yeah, well, the scale starts at 1, so.
Okay. So 1. So 1 would still be slightly anxiety inducing.
Well, on this scale, 1 would be like no anxiety.
No anxiety. Okay.
The lowest level of anxiety level.
I guess.
And
Well, like, can I come up with one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, maybe playing video games with just like strangers. I've never felt. I mean, I guess they're strangers, but there's there's.
Okay, it's like playing online.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, without knowing people's names or faces, but that's kind of, I would put that as like a 1 for me.
Okay. Good. Okay. So, does that make sense to you, like what this process is now, like rating these different things from 1 to 10 in terms of how much anxiety they give you?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So, as an action step for this next week, what I propose for you to do is look at that worksheet and rate everything on a scale of 1 to 10. If some of them seem like they're particularly not relevant to you, you can skip them, that's fine. If there's things that aren't on that worksheet that are relevant to you or that you can think of, definitely write them in.
Okay.
The goal is to have at least a few things at each level.
Okay, so there's 40 situations, and I just have to rate it from 1 to 10, and 10 being the most anxiety, and then 1 being the least. And then I can also, if I don't feel like 1's relevant, then I don't need to do it. Can I put my own situations in there if I think of any?
Strongly encourage you to include your own.
Okay, and this has So I should probably get this done by next session.
If you can.
Okay.
Not the end of the world if you can't, but that's going to be the most effective for moving you through this process.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions or concerns or anything?
Well, yeah, I'm just concerned that I might not be able to do it.
Okay. So first I want to reassure you, if you have any difficulty, if you come in next week and you haven't completed it, it's okay.
Okay.
It's not the end of the world.
So it's not like
We're gonna-
school and I'm getting a
It's not
failing
like school.
grade.
No, we're going to get you through this one way or the other.
Okay. Okay, that sounds more reassuring. Yeah, I'll try my best. I think I could do it. It's only 40 items and it only took me like a second to do. Okay.
Do you have any other questions, either about this in particular or just about therapy as a whole, or any feedback or anything like that?
Can you remind me again, so how would have this rating, the scale help me again?
Yeah. So basically, starting next week, once we have, or whenever we've completed the ratings, we're going to work together to identify something that's relatively low on the list, but something that does cause a little bit of anxiety. And then we're going to go through some techniques, and week to week, we'll be adding new techniques in order to help you to put yourself in those situations, in order to help you identify what thought patterns you have that are leading to your moods in those situations, things that can help you to relax a little bit more.
Okay.
And then step by step, you're gonna put yourself in a tube, and you're gonna feel a little bit of anxiety, and you're gonna do some of these exercises that help you relax, and you're gonna do that enough times until it doesn't feel so uncomfortable anymore.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be kind of the roadmap for the rest of our work together. Is we're gonna be slowly moving up this scale until we've reached your goals.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for explaining it to me.
Any other questions?
No.
No? Okay.
No more questions.
Alright. Well, let me just summarize the session. So what I'm hearing from you is that during this past week you had kind of a classic example of anxiety. Really, it's agonizing over a social situation for the entire week, and then it just got to a point where you decided not even to go. Exactly the type of situation that brought you into therapy in the first place. Then I kind of just reviewed what we're going to be doing in therapy together to address this, and then outlined kind of this first action step of doing this gradient, and then when we come back next week, then we'll start talking about doing some of those exposures, okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Alright, well, have a good week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was good.
Feedback.
No, good feedback.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember. Okay, I don't know.